our series on toxic families and how to deal with them. And today we're doing on a very difficult subject, but the family that has pedophiles or predators or inappropriate people in them, and how to protect yourself, how to protect your children from them. Now, as I say that out loud, a lot of people listening that maybe aren't trauma survivors or haven't been grown up in a family like that would say, well, it's very obviously just you don't go around them and you don't let your children around them. But it's not always that simple. Memories aren't always that clear, and a lot of people that maybe have had something happen to them or aren't sure something happened to them are uncomfortable around someone, but they don't necessarily know for sure exactly what happened. And so there are a lot of scenarios like that I hear in counseling, and I just want to give you some guidelines for if you were abused as a child, if your spouse was, if your sibling was, and you're in that family and you still have to go to special events, you still have to go to holidays, you still have to have some contact with this person, and maybe the issue was never addressed out loud. Maybe it was never kind of exposed, so to speak. And you now have children of your own, and there's a part of you that your gut is telling you something's not right and you don't feel safe. And obviously you wouldn't want your children around that. But the extended family gets together, and there's weddings and there's holidays and there's funerals and there's all kinds of things. And so you have to have some guidelines. Number one, you have to have very healthy and strong, secure boundaries. You have to say, okay, the child is never, ever left alone with this person. The child is never left alone with the spouse of that person, because you can't be sure that the spouse won't let them around. If it's a sibling or if it's a cousin and you want to leave your child with their mother, the aunt, you have to say no. You have to say no, because if you have any gut feeling at all, safety has to be first. It has to be paramount. It has to be the only way we break this cycle is being hyper vigilant about this one specific thing, and that is never, ever letting a child around a suspected person, regardless, or their spouse or their aunt or their mother or their any family member that is connected to them and doesn't believe that they're harmful or that they would ever do anything. You can never leave the child with that person either, because unless they're aware, unless they're willing to protect that child at all costs, the child's in danger with them. And I know this is a harsh video, this is a hard one for a lot of people, I'm sure, but safety has to come first. And if you can't expose it, then you have to protect yourself and the next generation from it. So how do you go about setting these healthy boundaries? Let's say your cousin is the person who did this, and your aunt asks, can I babysit? And you tell her no, and she asks why. You say, well, we just don't allow anyone in the family that we're unsure of to babysit. And she'll say, well, what have I ever done? Well, we have some concerns about your son. Well, my son never did anything. I'm sure that's what you believe in, and that may be true, but we have to be safe for ourselves and for our peace of mind, so I have to say no. You're welcome to come to our house and visit with the child. You're welcome we can go to the park, we can do things, but no, you can't have the child by yourself. I'm sorry, this is a boundary we have created, and that is how it is. And then your mother may come to you and say, how could you do that to your aunt? How could you do? You know what? Stay monotone, stay calm, and say, this is our boundary. If you can't accept it, I'm sorry. If you want to get mad at me, I'm sorry, but this is our boundary and we are not changing it for any reason. So that's number one, healthy boundaries. Number two is never let that child out of your sight in a family gathering. If you don't think that a child going to the bathroom, walking down the hallway and meandering into a bedroom when there's a group of people or a party going on, that something can happen in a split second. I had one child who was in a swimming pool with her cousins, and the cousins did it under her bathing suit. So if you think it can't happen anywhere, it can absolutely happen anywhere, and you have to be hypervigilant about protecting the child at all costs. So you never let that child out of your sight or out of your spouse's sight, ever. There's always someone you can trust watching that child. Okay? And the third thing is always be communicating with the child. Did anybody approach you at the party or the holiday gathering or the funeral or what? Did anybody ask you any questions? Did anybody pull you aside? How are you feeling? Did anybody make you feel uncomfortable? Did anybody touch you inappropriately? And we're always teaching children about good touch, bad touch, who's allowed to touch you, who is not allowed to touch you, and how they have say over their private areas. That is theirs. And if something makes them uncomfortable, come to me and talk to me. You always have to leave communication open with the child. That is your best bet for child safety. That child feels if something made them uncomfortable, they can run to you and they can be protected. And you'll believe them. You have to believe them. No matter what. I don't care if the child has lied before. You always believe a child when they tell you they've been uncomfortable and someone has done something to them. You have to, at all costs. So communication is number one. So we have boundaries. We have never leaving that child out of the security of a safe person that you know in your heart and in your gut is absolutely safe and would never let harm come to that child. That's number two. And number three is always keeping communication open with that child and believing them. No matter what, you have to believe them. That is the hardest thing that I ever went through, was telling my parent that something happened to me and them saying, oh, you're imagining it. Oh, that didn't happen. That's when I knew I was truly alone. And you never want your child to feel that way. You never want them to feel alone. So boundaries, always with a safe person, and communication, open communication, and believing that child no matter what. Okay? If you have any more questions about this, and this is a very delicate, difficult subject, please reach out to me. Text me on Messenger or find my phone number and text me on my phone. I will respond within a day. And follow me on Facebook, Instagram, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and leave a comment below. If you have experienced something like this or you want to share, please leave a comment below. And think about it. If you are a survivor, think about joining our therapy group, Triumphant Trauma Tribe. And we meet twice a week, and it's a great place for trauma survivors. Okay? So until next time, I'm Linda Vidi at Linda Vidi's Life Coaching and Counseling, and God bless.